Have you gone this route before, acquiring the rights to somebody before?
No, I've never done that before. And, in this case, there's not a lot of sentiment in the marketplace, and Kevin is, a quality hockey player. He can play, he plays a strong 200-foot game. He's a guy that can play both specialty teams. He's familiar with our coach, and our coach is familiar with him, and so we just thought it made sense to try to get ahead of it. There's no promises it's going to work out, but certainly we felt if we had an extra couple of weeks to speak to him and present our case, that would be better than just maybe having a couple days at the end of the month. So we feel this gives us the best chance of landing him, and again, there's no guarantees. It may work, it may not work, but certainly a risk worth taking.
Chuck, can you give us an update on the RFAs, and are you making progress at all on with any of them?
It's an interesting market, I will say that. In fact, even looking around the league, there's been very few signings to date, so it seems that market is becoming, I don't know how to say it. It's becoming a little bit more aggressively priced, I guess is the way to put it, based on the last couple of years. And we've had good conversations with the representation for all of those players, and we will meet with some agents at the draft in Vancouver a couple of those days and try to get together and talk. But my sense is everybody's kind of waiting for somebody else to do something. And I don't think anything's going to happen quickly. But we're hopeful we'll get everything done.
On Connecting and Provo, would you prefer long-term deals with those two?
We've talked about both with all the players, to be honest with you. There's, if we can get the right deal, we're happy to go long-term because we believe all those players will be good players for us. But certainly, I'm not opposed to doing shorter term. I've done both through the past, and some players like to go short, and be able to jump back in the market in a couple of years, and other players like that security. So if the price is right, we'll do either.
Chuck, a couple weeks ago you said that you would at least listen to offers for the first pick. Now that a couple weeks have gone by, have you gotten a sense, have you gotten enough calls to maybe decide that, hey, this is really in play, or it's off the table, or you're not going to get what you want, or is it too early for that?
Still maybe a bit early. I've certainly mentioned it to teams that we're open to any concepts, and there hasn't really been a big push for the pick, I will admit, at this point. As you get closer, things can change, but we'll see. Again, if we stay at if we keep our pick and stay at 11, we're going to get a really good player. But it is a pretty good chip, and in certain scenarios, I certainly would not hesitate to move it if it could really help our team. But most of our conversations haven't really involved the pick at this point. So and speaking to teams, and obviously in a couple of weeks we'll have a chance to speak to agents about free agents. So we'll get a better sense there. But we'll see what happens here in the next couple of weeks.
I would say it's a B+. It's a good draft. I think there's good depth to it. You look at the first round, I think, like I spoke earlier, there's a number of different types of players, especially early in the draft. But I think our guys have identified guys that we potentially can get in the second and third rounds that they're very excited about getting. So there's some years when you get to a point, even probably last year after about 15, 16, there's a significant drop-off. This year I think it goes deeper than that. And then we have a grouping of players probably through 20, 25 to 50 that are still quality players that we're confident we're going to get a good player, second and third round that our guys are excited about.
Obviously, you guys, this is your first draft with the Flyers, but the scouting department largely is intact in the past regimes. Do you I guess envision what has past been priorities, with the types of players that the Flyers tend to draft? Do you envision that staying pretty much the same, or do you envision that changing a bit with you guys now in charge?
Well, I'll start and then Brent can finish. I think it's similar. I've been very, very impressed with the amateur scouting staff. It's a strong group, a lot of experience. I think we all recognize the way the game is going. For me, hockey sense has always been a major, a very important part of what we look for in a hockey player. You obviously want the biggest, fastest, most skilled player you can get, but the players with those intangibles, with the hockey sense and the drive and the work ethic are extremely important, and I think that's been a priority here through the years. So it's a good staff though, and there are differing opinions. There's not groupthink, as I call it. You guys challenge each other in the room, and we work hard at the list, and we worked very hard the last couple of weeks at the list. So I've been very impressed with the group, but I don't think there'll be a lot of changes. You're always going for the upside in the first round and finding the most talented player you can, regardless of position, and whoever you think will, has the highest upside is who you're trying to land. And as Brent mentioned, at 11, I think somebody will fall to us. And after the top two, how teams may order the top two differently, I don't know. I think most teams probably have consensus on who the top two players are. After that, I think from 3 to 15, there'll be a lot of the same names, but teams will have them ordered differently, and I think that bodes well for us.